Today on Monkey Life. Females RoRo and Lucky are reintroduced in the hope they can learn to live together, but immediately come to blows.
RoRo's really surprised us. She's really stood her ground, had a bit of a go at Lucky.
Alison plans a house swap between Bart's group and the bachelor chimps.
It certainly will be interesting to see what happens with all of those characters, because let's face it, these groups are just ongoing little soap operas, and complicated ones at that.
And the wonder of woolies, Carlos is at full stretch for a breakfast treat. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
I can't keep her in, get her in. Okay. Got it.
The park provides a home for more than 260 primates from 24 different species. The park is home to 2 adult groups of orangutans, plus a nursery group. Over the years, the team have carefully managed each individual, moving animals around to ensure they all have a home in which they can thrive and enjoy life. But there has been one persistent problem in Tuan's group. 2 of the adult females, RoRo and Lucky, just don't like each other.
It is a nightmare, and it has been going on for years and years. It's a very difficult thing to do in a rescue sanctuary, keeping solitary animals together in a group. Sometimes it works, sometimes it goes wrong. We have to move the guys about every so often.
For the last few years, the team have had to manage this difficult situation to prevent the pair coming to blows and causing each other serious injury. The 2 females take it in turns to spend the day outside with the rest of the group, while the other remains indoors with a friend for company.
Clever girl.
But this morning, the orangutan team are going to try once more to persuade RoRo and Lucky they can live together in harmony.
Miss RoRo, it's going to be a big day today. Make sure you stay cool, okay?
The team have decided to take advantage of the summer's longer days and warmer nights to be more flexible with the group's inside and outside access.
We are so keen to use this opportunity. Well, the weather is great. We're literally going to give 24-hour access outside and inside. So the orangutan will decide themselves where to sleep. If they want to go inside, they can. If they want to stay sleeping outside, they can. And hopefully, after 2 days, no one be inside. Everybody can go outside every day.
In the wild, orangutans are more solitary animals, but at the park they can benefit from companionship. The team are preparing a bumper package of enrichment today to keep their minds on food and not each other.
Tuan loves this browse, and I want Tuan to stay busy eating browse all day long. That would be ideal for me.
Browse is one of their favourite foods, and by putting it up high where they'll have to climb to reach it, the team are hoping it will keep them busy and distracted. They're also going to stagger the release.
I'm just going to let Tuan, Awan, Ame, RoRo, and Hujan out first. Lucky will keep behind. And then soon they're happy, climbing around like that. I will put Lucky join with the group.
Everything is set. Alison and the team are keeping their fingers crossed. Lucky and RoRo have never managed to truly live in harmony together before, but everyone is hoping they can be successfully reacquainted today. First out are Awan and Ame, immediately heading up high to check out the fresh browse. They're followed by Hujan and RoRo. RoRo took on the responsibility of surrogate mum to 4-year-old Hujan when he arrived 2 years ago. He's another reason for the team to retry this introduction. Although Hujan still depends on RoRo, he's becoming a little more independent. Everyone living happily together would give him access 7 days a week to this wonderful enclosure, instead of having to keep RoRo company when it's her turn to remain indoors. Alpha male Tuan has made his way outside too. With all 5 tucking into the morning's enrichment, Jarno decides it's time to let Lucky out. A final scatter of fresh strawberries to keep everyone occupied.
Right, I'm gonna send you Lucky, yeah?
Go for it.
And he opens the slide. Lucky cautiously enters the enclosure. She normally has the upper hand with RoRo, helped by her close relationship with Tuan. But to everyone's surprise, the tables are turned. RoRo heads straight for Lucky. What follows is a full-on fight.
Yeah, RoRo, attack.
Orangutans have huge canine teeth that can do some serious damage. The team watch on anxiously. Sensibly, Hujan keeps well out of harm's way. The last thing anyone wants is for the youngster to be caught up in the middle of the scrap. Seconds later, alpha male Tuan steps in to split the two apart.
That's good. Well done.
He gives Lucky a stern telling off and stays with RoRo. But the altercation doesn't end there. RoRo comes back for more, and once again, Tuan has to intervene. However, Jarno is confident the 2 females will soon sort it out.
This is good. I want them to get exhausted first, and then they will be sort of calm down.
The rest of the group take the ruckus in their stride, and Lucky finally heads up high to sulk and lick her wounds.
RoRo's really surprised us. She's really stood her ground, had a bit of a go at Lucky. Tuan's got involved, sorted them out, but RoRo's definitely had the upper hand with that one, but I don't think she's had the last say yet.
Minutes later, Lucky is back on the ground, using the 80-kilogram bulk of Tuan as a wall to hide behind. Above them, RoRo puts on a bit of a display.
She's using her normal, usual tactic, clinging to Tuan for protection, just to keep herself nice, safe and comfortable.
Time for another distraction from the primate care team. Jarno throws in pieces of pepper and bottles of low-calorie juice. It seems to work. The atmosphere calms down and everyone does their own thing. The team decide to leave them to it for the rest of the day while keeping a watchful eye on proceedings. Bedtime tonight could prove to be another eventful affair. The key to Monkey World's success is the team's devotion to the needs of the primates in their care. The number of animals needing rescue and the ability of the sanctuary to cope with them has determined the park's development and growth. It's been that way since it opened its doors back in 1987.
It's been 34 years since Monkey World started, and at that point in time with a purpose specifically to rescue chimpanzees that were being smuggled from the wild to be used as beach photographers' props in Spain. And it's hard to believe that in that time, the park's evolved to become a global primate rescue center. So we're bringing in a variety of species of primate from around the globe now. And over the years, we've rescued more than 70 chimpanzees. It's staggering.
The makeup of the 4 chimp groups at the park today has evolved over the years. One, the Bachelor Boys, was set up for individual males who weren't good in large, social, mixed-sex groups.
In the beginning, it was a very difficult and tense group when there was only, say, 6 or so individuals in it, but then it's easier to get mean and nasty and dislike somebody if you're in a small group of people. Once we sort of hit the number of 8, 9, 10, from that point on, the aggression tends to dissipate a little bit because odds are that somebody that you might not like has other friends, and now you have to start weighing up whether your challenge of that person is worth it because you might get beat up if his friends are stronger than yours. So it became a bit easier to introduce males into the group when it got bigger because it wasn't such a close-knit group.
For many years, the bachelors were led by Butch, ably backed up by his henchmen, Jester and Buxom. But Butch is getting on in life, and at 38 years old, although being respected by the others, has fallen down the rankings. It's left a void at the top. The younger generation, like Paco and Mojo, are attempting to fill, and that's causing an issue.
Right now, with 14 individuals in there, we are having a bit of a shift and change in power. They are more volatile. They are a little more edgy. So things are shifting in there, and that does create tension.
It's led to some fallings out, and the resulting squabbles to cuts and bruises. It's clear to Alison and the team that something needs to be done to ease the pressure on the bachelors. And they think they have the perfect solution, a chimp house swap. The bachelor boys are going to exchange homes with Bart's group. For the past few years, the pavilions, which houses both groups separately, has been undergoing a total rebuild. Bigger bedrooms and interconnecting tunnels have been built, linking the bachelor's house and enclosure with Bart's. The work on Bart's bedrooms is now complete, and the team think that the extra space there, combined with the change of scene outside in a different enclosure, will be perfect for the bachelor boys.
It was the obvious solution to swap those groups over because Bart's group will accommodate that much better. They're much calmer, and together they all respect and love Bart. And that gives the bachelors more space. All of those new bedrooms, tunnel systems, maximizes the area and the housing for the boys and hopefully keeping them calmer.
After months of planning, the house swap is ready to proceed. And Alison is excited for both groups.
It certainly will be interesting to see what happens with all of those characters, because let's face it, these groups are just ongoing little soap operas, and complicated ones at that. And I think for the chimps, they're just going to be excited, and it's going to breathe a breath of life back into the older generation. At least that's what I'm hoping. I think it's going to be a good thing.
It's a big day for one of the park's newest arrivals. It's been 2 weeks since marmoset Gizmo was rescued from Nottingham, and he's come on leaps and bounds. His final medical checks have come back all clear, and the primate care team are happy to move forward with his rehabilitation. The next stage, and possibly the most important, is companionship.
We've got Solomon up, so we're going to put him next door and kind of see what the initial reaction is. I'm hoping for, well, ideally, some positive interaction, some nice faces would be great. But if not, as long as there's no hostility, I'll be happy. Give him a couple of minutes of mesh contact, and if it looks all right, we'll just open up and see what they make of each other.
Like Gizmo, Solomon was a victim of the British pet trade. He was just a baby when he was rescued from a home in Merseyside in 2010. The tiny marmoset was being kept in a small hamster cage and being fed through a syringe. Despite his poor start, he's thrived at the park. But following the loss of his housemate Hazel, he needs a new companion, and the team are hoping he's about to get one.
Solomon has lived with a male in the past, Little Moon, that he helped raise with Hazel for a while. So I'm hoping that means he'll be tolerant of another boy, but we'll just have to see.
Solomon has been brought up to the domestic marmoset house in a specially designed travel crate and released into a bedroom, with Gizmo waiting next door. The two males will be able to see and hear each other and get close. The mesh in between them should reduce the chance of them causing harm to each other. The pair seem keen to meet.
I think we're just going to go for it and open the slides and see what happens. Gizmo looks very keen.
Steph opens the slide, and Solomon wastes no time heading in to meet Gizmo. He's smaller than the new arrival, but he's not at all fazed. His experience with other marmosets has served him well, and it's not long before Gizmo starts following his new companion around.
Solomon, he's got good manners. He's sort of going up, he's not making any negative noises. He's very interested in Gizmo. But no real hostility, no big sort of posturing or anything. It's looking all right.
The icing on the cake for Steph and the team comes as Gizmo starts grooming Solomon.
Grooming's a wonderful sign. It's what these guys do to strengthen their sort of pair bond, to spend quality time together. So to see Gizmo doing it's really nice. It's also nice to know that Gizmo knows those behaviours. There's a lot of the pet trade guys coming in haven't got a clue when it comes to social etiquette and social behaviour. So really nice to see that Gizmo knows how to do that and that Gizmo wants to do that with Solomon. That's really nice.
The introduction has gone well, and things are looking positive. If the pair bed down together later in the day, the team will leave them overnight.
So we'll be keeping a very close eye on these guys. We'll be watching them all day today, most likely all day tomorrow as well. Keeping everything crossed, but we are off to a really promising start.
It's been just over a year since the park set up its first all-male woolly monkey bachelor group. There are now 6 boys in the troop, the newest arrivals being 2-year-old Lemmy and his friend 4-year-old Cassius. So far, the pair have settled in well to life with the more mature males. Today, the primate care staff have come up with an interesting idea which will challenge the woolies' brain power, patience and perseverance, as well as their physical prowess. Kate's recycled some old chopping boards and has turned them into unique feeders.
Drilled in some holes, and then we've made up this delicious enrichment for them. So it's just oats and berries. So the idea behind this is that it will stay in the holes and it will take them a bit longer to get it out.
The breakfast smeared boards will be suspended high up around the enclosure. If they want to tuck in, the boys will need to climb and use their tails for balance to reach the tasty treats. Everything is set and the slide is opened. The boys don't hang around. Claude quickly makes a beeline for one of the hanging boards. To avoid any conflict, there's plenty to go around, but it's harder than it looks. The boards are constantly moving, so keeping control of them is challenge number 1. Master that, and there's still the tricky issue of manipulating the slippery, mushy breakfast out of the holes. This is where the woolly monkey's long, strong, prehensile tail comes into play. It works as a 5th limb, and they use it to anchor themselves and free up their hands to get at the food. Carlos demonstrates the technique perfectly. He's nearly 6 and already a big, strong male. In years to come, he could be a potential rival for the top spot in the hierarchy. That position is currently held by Paolo, acknowledged as not the brightest woolly in the park, but a strong and agile leader all the same. The enrichment is proving a great success with the whole troop. The team took into account their age and size when making and arranging the board feeders.
Most of the guys in here, they are strong. They can adapt well with their tails. But then we do have little Lemmy. He's very small, so we have to make sure that he can get his share as well. We did put a couple up near some hosing, but to our amazement, he even tried to get the more difficult ones. And he was brilliant. He was using his tail, stretching right across, and it was just so lovely to see him involved as well.
Eventually, the morning exertion takes its toll, and the full and content bachelor woolies relax and soak up the sunshine. It's late afternoon, And at Tuan's outdoor enclosure, the reintroduction of female orangutans Lucky and RoRo is continuing. Things have calmed down since RoRo's preemptive morning attack on Lucky, which caused Tuan to step in and split them up. With the big male keeping an eye on things, RoRo has been reduced to prodding Lucky with a bit of browse, much to Alison and the care team's amusement. Jarno is using the lull in proceedings to check the girls over for injuries.
Looking pretty good. Just tiny scratch there. She can defend herself pretty well, I think.
But the day is coming to a close, and Jarno wants the two females to continue getting reacquainted. It means giving them indoor and outdoor overnight access via the tunnel system which connects the two areas. But there's a small issue. 4-year-old Hujan, who looks on RoRo as his foster mum. He's still too young to stay outside overnight, so Jarno needs to get him inside with an adult for company. Tonight, it falls to Ame to become the youngster's temporary carer.
This is definitely the safest option to keep everybody sort of peace in mind.
But first, they need to get the whole group inside in order to separate Hujan and Ame from the others.
Tuan.
A tempting cup of peanut butter and honey does the trick.
Another magic cup for Ame. Keep it in that room. Straight away join Ame to Hujan.
Minutes later, all the orangutans are where they should be and enjoying their treat. Time to open up the slides to enable Hujan to join Ame.
I am ecstatic today. I am so pleased. I'm so happy. I've been sort of planning this for long time, and RoRo behavior is surprised me a lot. Hopefully tomorrow even better.
Hujan is safe and settling down with Ame. The rest of the troop can come and go, inside and out, giving rivals RoRo and Lucky plenty of room to avoid each other and work out their differences. The team are hoping nighttime at Tuan's will be a peaceful and stress-free affair. Next time on Monkey Life. The team have their work cut out for the biggest house swap in the park's history, with the Bachelor boys moving to Bart's and Bart's moving to the Bachelors.
It might be quite noisy from here on in.
And Capuchin Erico tries to lick the Big Ice Lolly Challenge with brute force.